Reading the tale. The origin of the moon. This land came into being at the very dawn of creation. In those days, the nights were pitch black, for there was neither moon nor stars to give light. The sky lay over the country like a vast black carpet, covering everything in darkness. One day, 4 young men from this land set out together to travel the world. They arrived in another kingdom where, after the sun had set behind the mountains, a gentle glowing sphere could be seen hanging from an ancient oak tree. Its soft light spread across the entire country. Though it was not as dazzling as sunlight, under its glow people could clearly see and distinguish all things. The travelers stopped to admire it and asked a farmer passing by in a horse-drawn cart what the shining object was. The farmer replied, "That is the moon. Our village headman bought it for $3 and hung it there. Every day he must pour oil into it and clean it so that it burns evenly and gives off a gentle light. He is paid $1 a week for his work." A thaler was a silver coin used throughout Europe for nearly 400 years. After the farmer had gone, one of the travelers said, "A lamp like that is exactly what we need. Back home we also have an ancient oak tree, we could hang it there. How wonderful it would be not to grope about in the dark anymore." The second said, "You know, the people here can always buy another one to hang up. Let us quickly bring a cart and horse and take this moon away." The third said, "I'm good at climbing trees. I'll climb up and take it down." The fourth brought the cart and horse. The third man climbed the tree, drilled a hole through the moon, threaded a rope through it, tied it securely, and lowered it down. Once the shimmering sphere lay safely on the cart, they covered it with a cloth so no one would notice. And so they carried the moon away. They brought the moon safely back to their own land and hung it high on the top of a tall oak tree. Moonlight spread across the fields, houses and lanes were filled with its glow. Young and old alike rejoiced. Little folk came out of their caves to admire the moon, and on the plains the earth spirits, dressed in their finest clothes, joined hands and danced in circles. Every day the 4 men took turns pouring oil into the moon and cleaning off the soot, receiving their wages each week. But as the years passed, they all grew old. When the first man fell ill and knew his end was near, he asked that 1/4 of the moon be taken with him to the grave. After he died, the village headman climbed the tree and used pruning shears to cut away 1/4 of the moon, placing it in the coffin. The moon shone less brightly, though few noticed. When the second man died, another 1/4 was cut and buried with him, and the moon grew dimmer still. After the third man's death, yet another 1/4 was taken, and the light became faint and ghostly. Finally, when the fourth man was laid to rest, the last 1/4 of the moon was buried with him. Once again, the nights became pitch black, just as they had been before. Anyone traveling at night had to carry a lamp, or else they would bump into one another in the darkness. Down in the underworld, it was always dark. There, the 4 pieces of the moon were joined together into a single glowing sphere. Its light was not harsh like the sun, but soft and gentle, perfect for the eyes of those below. The dead began to stir and awaken from their endless sleep. They stretched, became cheerful, and resumed their former habits. Some gambled and danced, others crowded into taverns to drink wine. When they grew tipsy, they started arguing loudly, then beating one another with their sticks. The noise of shouting and fighting grew louder and louder, echoing all the way up to heaven. Saint Peter, who guarded the gates of heaven, heard the uproar and thought there was a rebellion in the underworld. He blew his trumpet to raise the alarm and assembled the heavenly host, ready to drive the mob back should they storm upward. But no one came, so Saint Peter mounted his horse and rode down into the underworld himself. He restored order and commanded everyone to return to their graves. When peace was restored, he took the moon with him back to heaven. That is why the moon now hangs in the sky, just as we see it today. Lessons from the story. Selfishness leads to loss. The four men originally took the moon with good intentions, to bring light to their homeland. However, their greed and desire to possess it for themselves led to unfortunate consequences. In the end, they lost the moon, and the entire community was plunged back into darkness. The value of sharing. Moonlight is a shared treasure meant for everyone. When shared, it brings joy and happiness to all. But when each person thinks only of personal gain, balance is broken and suffering follows. The meaning of unity. When the moon was whole, the community lived in peace under its light. When it was divided, chaos followed. The story reminds us of the importance of unity and protecting what belongs to everyone.